Hello, everybody. Welcome to the session. Today is August 15, 2022. My name is Jose Blasco, and this is our 3D market commentary. We're going to spend a few minutes looking at the markets to understand what's happening out there. We'll talk about the market environment. We'll talk about 5 key markets that, when well understood, really we have a good grasp when it comes to understanding global markets around the world. And that's very convenient to do it now because in 1 hour time, the US equity markets will start trading, which is one of the peak times for volumes and key market movements. So let's begin the session. Before we get started, we have a financial disclaimer. I would like you to read carefully. This is important information. It is fairly short, and therefore I am counting on you all to read it completely because it is indeed important. So please read it carefully. Thank you so much. It's been highlighted, so I believe everybody got time to read it. So it's now time to move into the real-time charts and do our real-time analysis, again, 1 hour before the US equity markets begin trading. Here we go. So August 15, you can see it on the left. This is our news flash. This is being emailed to our members for free every single day. If you are not receiving it yet, and in case you cannot attend the live sessions every day, just follow the instructions on the screen. Go there to the news flash, sign up for it. Again, it's free, and you will receive it every day in your inbox. So the news flash is all about a 3D approach to understanding the markets. Okay, and 3D means that we're going to look at 3 dimensions, 3 particular market components, where the first one is going to be the market climate, the second one is going to be the buy and sell UFOs, and the third component is going to be the market volatility. So for the ones of you that are new to our sessions, the market climate represents or refers to the upcoming market direction. So what's the climate? Is it sunny? Is it rainy? Time to buy, time to sell, time to trade, time not to trade? So that kind of question is key before we start trading whatever we trade. And this is an answer that we're going to be providing from a statistical point of view during the session for those 5 key markets I mentioned. Once we know what is the upcoming market direction, the likely upcoming market direction based on stats, so then looking for where the buy and the sell on field orders are, it's key. UFOs look like flying saucers on the screen. Green for buy on field orders, red for sell on field orders, and they represent where key turning points, key upcoming turning points are going to happen or are likely going to happen, and therefore those are very valid entry points and exit points into the market. For example, for instance, you can see how the S&P is currently trading at 4261, which is entering this green UFO. So from there, the expectation is that the buy on field orders will kick in and this market will rally up. So when it gets to the red UFO, the opposite is true. We would expect the sell on field orders to kick in and the market to fall down. So in that sense, buying at this current price level and selling at this upper price level would be something that would make a lot of sense if you are a UFO trader, if you have taken our training, if you know how it works, etc., etc. Okay, I'm not talking about a gamble here. I'm talking about a rule-based methodology, just an example to illustrate the power of the UFOs and what is it that we mean by UFOs in case this is a new term to you. And finally, market volatility. This refers to the upcoming speed of price change. In other words, is it going to be a boring market to trade? Is it going to be a market that moves nicely? Is it going to be a market that moves way too fast and we should stay away from it if you are more risk averse? So again, market volatility is a key component as well of our analysis, which often helps to either approve or discard trading opportunities depending on your trading plans. And again, I'll make more comments about that during the session. So the first market that we're going to analyze is the S&P 500 futures. To understand the climate, we are going to use a tool called Auto Climate. I will explain in a moment how you can get that. It's free. To understand the UFOs, we're going to use a tool called Auto UFOs. We can see here it's plotted on the top, Auto UFOs flying saucers. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that, and then for the market volatility, we'll look at the VIX, which is the implied volatility of options on the S&P 500 index. So we'll talk about all of these one at a time. So first, market climate. What is the current market climate on the S&P? It's thick and blue, so it's a thick and blue dot. That means that we are dealing with an up climate, which is currently confirmed. Now, given the fact that the market is confirmed, the climate is confirmed, I should say, we need to be very cautious about the fact that we have been in this climate condition for 13 candles, 13 days, where the statistics suggest that 8.63 candles, it's a normal thing to happen. Beyond that, it's less normal. So we are stepping into unlikely territory, and therefore the expectation really, the probability suggests that it's more likely for the S&P to have some sort of a retracement correction, change from blue to red for a few days, for a few candles, okay? 2.97 will be the expectation. And after it goes down by a few red candles, then go back to blue. But continuing on the blue climate, it's a bit hopeful. Well, it could happen based on probabilities. It is not supposed or not likely going to happen, since the normal thing to happen would be 8.63, and we already achieved 13, which is already beyond what's likely. So every day beyond today, it's less likely, okay, to the upside. So keep that in mind. So now, of course, we have a green UFO right here, located at 4260.5. The current price of the S&P it's a bit inside that, is 4258.25. So price is inside the UFO. Those buy on field orders are supposed to kick in and give us a move. But also keep in mind that if the climate is going to change, the buy on field orders are often cancelled and removed, and then that UFO will go away from the screen. So again, definitely we should expect some sort of a reaction, pause, even I would say bounce, but I would not expect something spectacular achieving 44.32, which is where the sell-on field orders are. I would not expect that in this case, given the fact that the climate is already pointing at 13 out of 863. So probably that green UFO will just create a little bit of support, a little bit of up and downs, probably a change of climate to red, then back to blue, and then we are talking. So careful with that, because this market, statistically speaking, is very overextended. Speed of movement, 20.88% based on the VIX, which if we reverse engineer pricing models for options, so that would be 56 points a day, either up or down, 123 points a week, either up or down, 256 points a month, either up or down. That's the expectation for the S&P, and the next market to analyze is crude oil. In these sessions, by the way, if you haven't noticed, we move fast, okay? We are meeting for 10, 15, 20 minutes maximum. So we are not spending too much time doing the trading and the market analysis. We are more, looking into what's happening right now instead of taking the trades. It's more about defining the environment. Later in the day, we do our live trading sessions, which certainly we take time and we take trades. Now, having said all of that, if you have any question, please type it on the chat box, and I'm more than happy to get back to you guys. So what's happening to crude oil? Crude oil is in a down climate, which is confirmed. Very interesting that we are just coming from a blue climate that was non-confirmed into a red climate, which is confirmed. So we are starting a new climate, which is supposed to last by 5.78. So crude oil has plenty of room to fall, especially given the fact that the next pile of buy on field orders is located at 80, which is below the current price. So if I move this, here are the buy on field orders. So it's looking like it's going to go all the way there before it turns and goes back higher. That's where we're at. Okay, this is where we're at, and that's the case. And the climate has just started. So in that sense, the probability for this to happen is certainly there. Now, for sure, what we like to see the most would be some red UFO showing up at this moment in time. Okay, somewhere in here, because that would allow for the market to retrace a bit, hit those UFOs and keep going down, and create this healthy type of price movement to the downside that tends to remain to the downside. If crude oil falls too far too fast, then we may get into a non-sustainable territory, and then we got a bounce. Okay, so we may not achieve 5.78 if that's the case. So the fact that there is no red UFO there is just raising a little bit of a tiny flag. I'd love to see red UFO show up like we've seen in prior weeks of crude oil, when crude oil was trading, above 100, and they said it's going to 80, and it may have looked like you are crazy at the time. Well, not so crazy, isn't it? Again, just reading market data, really, it's not like I have a magic power or anything like that. Just utilizing the right tool and reading that market data. Very objective analysis, really. But again, talking about analysis, objective, there is no red UFO at this moment in time, so note of caution here, because crude oil could bounce aggressively in the opposite direction unless a red UFO shows up. So that would be the real important component that we need to make this trade safe. So sell on field orders located all the way at 189, buy on field orders located at 80.47, as we said. Speed of movement 44% based on options on crude oil futures. That's the OVX, implied volatility index. Reverse engineer pricing models, that's 2.44 points a day, either up or down, 5.37 points a week, either up or down, 11.18 points a month, either up or down. And the next market for us to check, it's going to be gold. So let's look at gold. 1, 2, 3. Gold is loading. Here are the UFOs. Thank you very much. What do we have on gold? On gold, we have an up climate, which is confirmed. Now, notice this climate has been running for 12 candles out of 5.85, so very overextended, similar to the S&P. The S&P less, 13 out of 8, is less than 12 out of 6, but still similar situation. But notice what's happening as we speak. Do you guys see that tiny gray line there? Let me zoom in. You see the tiny gray line? That often, those gray lines below often lead to a change of color. You often got a line, a gray line, and then it changes color, right? So we may be dealing now with the end of the up climate, and gold will change to become red. Now, having said that, no signs of sell-on field orders unless we look at the ones all the way located at 1962.7, which is very far high. And the ones below, they are actually not that far below at 1739. They are right here. Okay, so again, if the climate is down, we certainly expect gold to fall. But of course, when gold falls to these price points with the buy on field orders, we would expect it to go back higher. So something to watch for. Of course, the climate direction change would be officialized tomorrow. You can certainly join the sessions to see that or see it for yourself. Although climate is free, as I said, so you can just see it for yourself. Okay. Also, speed of movement would be expected to be at 15.22%. Which is extracted from the volatility index for options on gold futures. That's 17 plus points a day, either up or down, 37 plus points a week, either up or down, 78 plus points a month, either up or down. Next market to check, and probably one of the most interesting markets of the whole 2022, the dollar index. Okay, so what happens to the dollar index? The dollar index came into a green UFO that we have a few days ago. It went up. Then it came back down, came back up again from that green UFO, same price points here, right? So we were expecting that. Now, the one thing that we didn't know at that time is that a red UFO would show up. This showed up last week. You saw that last week, isn't it? If you were attending the news flash sessions. And the dollar index is right now trading inside that UFO, okay? So now, what do we have here? Very difficult situation to trade. To be honest, I would stay away. I'm certainly staying away until maybe a day or two later. Why? Because we have a potential change of climate on the dollar index. If the climate changes, it's going to be blue. So if it's blue, I don't want to be selling, okay, which is what we should be doing now. But because the climate is red, but notice that the climate is red, but it's not confirmed. So selling a non-confirmed climate doesn't make me too happy. Plus, we got a gray line that just formed a few minutes ago, actually. And that often leads to a change of color, meaning a blue climate. And certainly I would not want to be a seller. So it's looking like that this red UFO may bring price down a little bit just to bring it back to this green UFO with a blue climate. And if that's the case, we should expect a very powerful continuation of the move up on the dollar index. But again, all of this is to be seen in the following 2 days, 1 or 2 days, as the climate confirms and as we get to see price coming back to the green UFO, which is what I would expect, okay? So, sell on field orders, I just said it, red UFO, 105.85. Buy on field orders, I just said it, green UFO, 105.33. Speed of movement expected to be at 9.03%. That is 0.60 points a day, either up or down, 1.33 points a week, either up or down, 2.77 points a month, either up or down. And finally, Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin future that trades in the ICE exchange. So Bitcoin futures is doing its thing, really struggling to go higher. Every time it tries to go higher, some red UFO shows up, bringing it down. At this moment in time, we are in a pretty strange situation. We are in an up climate, but there is no green UFO until we get down all the way to 20,000, and there is no red UFO unless we get up all the way to 30,000. So again, because the climate is blue, so it's more likely for Bitcoin to go up, and I would say there is certain level of odds for us to get all the way to 30,000, 29,432.5 to be precise, right there. right UFO. But if it falls, okay, if the climate was to change, there is certainly room, at least, for this market to drop to 20,000 plus. So again, it'd be great to see a green UFO form. If a green UFO forms, which we will see real time, auto UFOs is real time. So if a green UFO form, then next thing you know, I would say there is a very, very serious chance to get into 30,000. If no green UFO forms, look, anything could happen. It all depends on the climate, so it's to be observed. Okay, I would say taking trades would make not much sense. If you are in a trade management would make sense based on observing the auto climate. And finally, economic news and economic reports. Okay, so if I zoom in a little more, pretty quiet week. Okay, some news in Asia, Monday, Tuesday, again, GBP, New Zealand unemployment rate, obviously in the UK, it's certainly relevant. Consumer price index in Canada, which I almost missed there, it's certainly relevant as well. But probably all those numbers will be very much in tune with whatever has happened in other countries. Obviously, in recent times, consumer price index has been the protagonist of the US markets, isn't it? As it's been way better than expected. So probably the same will happen with Canada, and therefore the surprise will not be that much of a surprise. And I would not expect too much, okay, from those reports. In any case, they are red color, right? So they are high impact event from a potential point of view. So certainly careful there if you trade at those times of the day. And then on the Wednesday, retail sales, FOMC meeting, okay, that from a volatility point of view could spice it up all. Maybe the FOMC, maybe the Fed talks a little bit about the interpretation of the new CPI numbers, which are related to inflation. Again, another CPI number in the UK. So it's all about CPI and the FOMC meeting. So in that sense, it could be spicy from a volatility point of view. But I would say from a directional point of view, I guess whatever reactions took place from the numbers probably already took place. Okay, so I'm not that interested, if you wish, on the economic reports for this week compared to the prior weeks in August so far. Okay, and retail sales also in Canada, which again very much related to the CPI. Okay, cool. So with all of this said, we are done for the session. I'm late by 3 minutes, guys. Normally I shoot for 15-minute session. Today I was a bit longer than that. Hopefully that's okay with you guys. You guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Trade well. We'll see you there in the live sessions. If you are a UFO user, for sure, we're here for you. We're here to help everyone, to be honest, but especially if you are a UFO user. Any question, any support that you need, just shoot a message. Use the question page on our website, whichever is more convenient to you. And we're here to help. Take care, everybody. See you soon. See you in the next one. Bye-bye, everyone.